You're listening to another great podcast in the MyMac Podcasting Network.
Hello everybody and welcome to what is going to be the last show before we take a summer break. Mark mentioned it last week, and thank you, Mark, for doing that solo flight.
I don't know if she'd be thanking me for it, because I listened back to it and it's like, oh, jeez, it was a mess. It was all over the place. I don't know what went on with the audio, because you sort of think, right, I found headphones at a pinch because I haven't worked out how to get my Onyx Blackjack USB doohickey to go to my iPad yet. So you think, headphones from Apple iPad, using the rather gorgeous ferrite to record with. What could possibly go wrong? And it turns out everything. So you had the raw audio, didn't you? And there was quite a bit wrong with it.
Oh, there was a certain amount of hiss, which you mentioned, sort of a background hiss. And normally, bit inside baseball this, but normally you would use a noise reduction to pick up a section where it's just hiss and use that to remove it. But when I did that, it took so much mid-tone out of your audio, you sounded a bit like that. So I had to do some other technical tomfoolery to salvage it as best I could. And for some reason as well, there was an awful lot of bass. Very bassy recording. Again.
Well, you wouldn't think that would be possible with the what they call the Apple Lightning earphoney thingies.
No, it was very strange. But anyway, a bit of technical tomfoolery to get the best out of it we could. But still, thank you for doing it, because I was a bit out of it, because my son broke his elbow in 3 places.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand one break, but 3?
Well, apparently him and his mate were larking around, and during a bit of rough and tumble, his friend either kicked or whacked him in the back of the elbow whilst he had it extended, and thus he got a hyperextension. So he's cracked the bone above the elbow, below the elbow, and in the elbow joint itself.
And he must be kind of gutted, because obviously if he'd done that during the actual school term, he would have got some time off, no doubt. But now it's the summer holidays, so he's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, well, he got 3 days off. Because he did it 3 days before they broke up, or at the weekend just before they did 3 days to break up. And the school said, we don't want him here if he's broken his elbow. So he got 3 days off, but yeah, he's stuck in a cast now, probably for most of the summer holidays. But as he did it at sort of 9 o'clock at night, as you can imagine, wonderful as the NHS is, these things take a long time. And I went to sleep about 3 o'clock in the morning as a result. So on the Sunday, I was a bit less than 100%, shall we say. So that's why you, volunteered to take a solo flight and bail me out. So thank you very much for that.
Well, I might do the odd episode over summer, but I'm not going to promise anything, because every time I try and start something, life finds a way to spoil my endeavours, so to speak.
Well, what we're going to do is basically we're going to take August off, I think. I like you, I might, if something amazing happens, I might, push out a cast. I've got a couple of interviews I might record over the break and splice into shows afterwards. But let's face it, it's the summer holidays, it's the summer, everybody's out and about, and plus it's silly season. There's no bloody news worth worrying about anyway most of the time. So I think we'll just have a rest and come back refreshed in September, ready for the big splash, shall we?
I wonder if the podcast is going to support the season and, the episode tag? Because I'd kind of like to break it down more into seasons, I think. So, you get to take off like a mid-season break over Christmas, and it's only 22 weeks to go. Yeah, Jesus, what an idiot thought. You know what I'm going to do on the hottest day of the year ever in the UK? I'm going to start talking about time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, just no.
Yeah, well, it could be worse. You get those people who start on Boxing Day, don't they? Only 364 sleeps to Christmas or whatever.
Oh God.
There we are. So, well, other than that, not really a lot has happened in my life this week. I have to admit, I've been quite busy at work. With the result that I've been coming home and having a little nap quite often because
Yeah.
very hot days, AC or no, and fairly concentrated work tends to leave you with mental exhaustion.
In my world, I'm doing interesting things like trying to find a USB to XLR cable, which I think you can get, but it doesn't tell if it's got a preamp on there. So I might have to reach out to Guy or Gaz or Carl Madden to see.
Ask Guy, he'll know. He would. Last time he was on the show, a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was. Before the show, he spent a very long time explaining to me the difference between all of his mics. And by the way, that's a lot of mics. He's got about 20 different microphones.
Why does that not surprise me so much? He's at Macstock as well, isn't he?
He is at Macstock this weekend, yes.
I've completely lost touch, and I can't actually remember what Macstock is all about.
Well, it's a community event, isn't it? They just have a big get together, don't they? Guy and Tim, I think, usually do a quiz with prizes, and Tim always says that Guy helps everybody to cheat. There we are. No, it's apparently, and they have a big barbecue and a beer bash and all sorts of other fun things, and lots of Mac people who we all know will be there. I think Kelly is there, and
well, if I'd have known that, I would have booked my ticket.
There we go. Yes.
What else I've done this week? I tried very unsuccessfully to review a £65 projector.
Okay.
What I've learned with my somewhat stalled YouTube career is it takes a bit more than an hour to review a projector because I'd had it sitting. I thought, oh, do it tomorrow. And yeah, I kind of left it too long, and the guy said, oh, can I pick up the projector in a couple of hours? Oh, bugger. But I think I've got some really nice sort of arty shots. It's just the things like, oh, I don't know, seeing the projector in action and trying to focus it. That footage it's so unusable. I'm just gonna have to. In fact, I could do all those things. What was it? 5 ways not to do a YouTube video. See if that gets me some clickbait stuff.
Okay. Well, this week, of
still
course.
Want Final Cut Pro and
Notepad
Pro.
Okay.
Though. I still want. It's a good program, but not a pro app. Just because it's slightly better than iMovie does not make it a pro app. It's like Windows Media Maker. Oh no. I'm on blood pressure pills. I need to calm down. It's summer.
Breathe. Oh dear. Right. Well, the big story this week, Mark, is of course. This is where you interject.
Oh right, yeah, okay. It's the thing that we've all been waiting for. That Apple to acquire the majority of Intel's smartphone modem business in what is probably what's taken them so long ever story of the world at the moment. So if you've been
I was going to say, unless you've been living in a cave, this has been predicted, well, from even before Apple settled with Qualcomm.
I think the timing of I think the giveaway was there when just how quickly Apple and Qualcomm suddenly Apple went, okay, fine, you win. It's almost like they rolled over and laid down too easily because you know what Apple are like. They don't just settle for things like that. They will fight tooth and nail. I mean, they were awarded something like 175 million at one point, or some really unfathomable figure. And then just to go, you know what, we've agreed to settle out of court, and you kind of go, Apple.
Well, I think everybody, I think the general gist, as everybody saw that, was Intel had admitted they were not going to be able to produce 5G modems in the timescale that Apple wanted. That left them with no option but Qualcomm. If you're going to settle with Qualcomm, then you're going to make a deal to use Qualcomm modems. That meant Intel had no customers for any 5G modems they were going to make. So, they've sold it to Apple for $1 billion, which, by the way, is a 0.4 billion loss because they paid $1.4 billion to acquire that business.
Oh, the statement here, and this is the interesting bit that I'm reading here, is the Intel CEO Bob Swan says, "We have long respected Apple, and we're confident that they provide the right environment for this talented team and these important assets moving forward. We're looking forward to putting our full effort into 5G, where it most closely aligns with the need of our global customer base, including network operators, telecommunications equipment manufacturers, and cloud service providers." That sounds to me, oh bloody hell! I had the thought in my head then. Oh god, it's Sunday. That sort of sounds to me that Intel couldn't make it work, so they're going to shove it into stuff where power isn't necessarily a problem.
I'm not sure.
Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure that that's the thing. I think the point is what they've done is they've sold the smartphone modem business, haven't they, to Apple? But they're retaining modem, making modems for, laptops, PCs, Internet of Things devices, non-smartphones, and anything else, really. So I think the point is that in the smartphone business, their only customer is likely to be Apple. And if Apple have done a deal with Qualcomm, then they're not going to get anything out of that. It's a dead loss.
The bit here where it says Apple will hold over 17,000 wireless technology patents sounds interesting, but you've got to wonder how many of them are just very, very old and very useless. I'd like to see the number of the number of useful patents relating to 5G.
Oh, yeah. Of course, the other thing is lots of people are going, well, Apple are going to make their own modems. Well, of course, Apple are going to make their own modems, but they've done a deal with Qualcomm, which is a 6-year deal, I believe, with an option to extend another 2. They've also agreed to buy, smartphone modems, 5G modems, I believe, from Qualcomm for at least 2 or 3 years. But I don't think this acquisition is. A lot of people seem to think it was about getting 5G modems for the iPhone immediately. I think it's a much longer play than that.
Of course.
That I think it's much more about the usual Apple thing of controlling the stack.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would make more sense if anything. You buy a modem technology company and business, and you put it in a device which has the biggest battery that you can use for being online, and it would make sense to put that into the iPad. I would be very surprised if now they've got this stack that the iPads wasn't more prevalent in their in the what called the oh come on words where are you? If they wouldn't put the new technology into the iPads first, I don't honestly think we're ever going to get it in a laptop.
I don't know. I mean, at the minute, always on laptops, as it were, always connected laptops are not, or at least not, not by telecom type connected, are not really a huge thing. But that kind of use case really depends on the carriers, doesn't it? If they're going to basically screw everybody over for every drop of data, then that's never going to become a viable business.
Well, we're lucky here in the UK. I mean, we're going to come on to this story in a bit, but we're lucky compared to Americans. I mean, what is it I get on my phone? Something like, this isn't actually that good a deal anymore. I'm getting unlimited data, unlimited texts, 1,000 minutes of voice calls, 3,000 minutes of 3-to-3 calls for like £11. But I can't tether because I'm on an old bloody contract, so they can't do anything with it. So if I want to tether, I have to go on a completely different thing, and I'm not giving that up for £11 a month, which is say $15, $16.
That's a very good deal. I have to admit that is a very good deal.
I do wonder about Intel engineers coming over to Apple. I don't know, but in my head, I see Intel as this huge, monolithic, very staid company that are very sort of how can I put this? Imagine what it'd be like to work in a cubicle on a big factory floor in front of a computer, just churning out things day after day after day in an office environment. I wonder how many people will stay, because where are they going? Are they staying where they are? Are they going to be shipped somewhere? Or where is all this R&D
Well,
happening?
I suspect that they won't actually go anywhere. I suspect that Apple has acquired them. They've been working almost, exclusively for Apple anyway. So I think even the Intel guy said the same, didn't he? Pretty much that, from their point of view, very little will change. They will carry on doing the work they're doing, except now their paycheck will come directly from Apple rather than via Intel. So I shouldn't think that from their position very much will change.
Well, yeah, but it does bring up the other point, like Intel with the Atom processors, which lag behind, pound for pound, amp for amp, watt for watt, way behind the ARM chip, and Intel's really had no response for this, and I'm just wondering now, were they even interested in trying to enter the low power market, really? I mean, they've lagged behind in their manufacturing process, and I think I've got to get my code mixed up. It was AMD who were the first big chip makers to go down to 7 nanometer, and it's been the process that's been holding back Intel for a number of years. So do we think that the people at Intel will design the chips and Apple will get them fabbed elsewhere?
Yeah, almost certainly. I'm sure Apple will get them fabbed by whoever makes their A series. Was it TMSC?
Let's just hope it wouldn't. There's something very funny about Apple buying Intel, then getting ex-Intel engineers now to make a chip that would be manufactured by Samsung.
Taiwanese semiconductor group or whatever they are. Almost certainly. But anyway, there we go. That was the big story. As we've said, massively predicted. And I've seen a lot of tosh spouted, to be honest, what I considered to be make stories about all sorts of things, but I'm pretty sure that we're not going to see anything dramatic. This is not we're going to announce some shiny new modem chip in the next 6 months. I very much think that this is a much longer play, and it's about, to a large extent, I think it's about being able to bring the modem chip into their A series, because at the moment, of course, the modem has to be a separate chip. Yeah, it's not part of the SoC. Now, if Apple want to be able to, I'm pretty sure Apple will want to make their own modem hardware chips, and they will want to be able to integrate it into their, chips.
Yeah, I mean, Apple they've always said the reason why the iPhone does so well and it can't out benchmark things, and the reason it has been able to work on 1 gigabyte of RAM for so long was because it was so tightly controlled, and it's all part of the ecosystem. So yeah, I mean, I think it was going to happen eventually, and I think the A series of processors that have gone into not the A series of processors, the chips that have gone into the phones, the iPads, have shown that Apple are, suddenly they're very competent in this area. So it'll be very interesting to see. I mean, imagine having an iPad that could be on 3G or 5G, or God, let's not even go to 5G at the minute, all day, just sipping away at the battery. Apart from don't watch YouTube, it kills your battery.
And your data if you're not careful. Right. So there we go. That was that one. I'll give another shout out, of course, to TechPinions, who had a very detailed discussion this week about that whole subject. Well worth a listen if you want more, shall we say, more in-depth and probably far more knowledgeable discussion of it than you and I. Anyway.
Yeah, well, it would be too. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a big purchase for Tim, isn't it? I mean, he doesn't like to spend money.
I don't know, $1 billion, that's not much, relatively.
There's still plenty. Yeah, it'll be, I haven't seen what happened to Intel's share price. I like to look at these things.
I think it went up 1%, I don't follow those sort of things very much. No, $1 billion is nothing. I mean, what did they pay for Beats? 3.5?
What, billion, was it?
Yes,
no.
Ludicrous amount of money they paid to acquire Beats. Ludicrous amounts of money. There we go. Dear.
Bloody hell! Crikey, O'Reilly! I'd completely forgotten about that. Gee, I've got to stop drinking, dude. Bloody hell! This is a bargain. No wonder Tim picked it up. This is like going to Tesco between was it $2.15 and $2.45, where they're just starting to pour the reductions out. It's a handy hint for you folks. They have 2 reductions a day, one in the morning, one in the evening.
Oh, yeah. Or go on a Sunday at about 3:30.
No, they don't tend to have that many there. Lidl and Aldi, by the way, they do theirs in the morning, and I've had that from good sources. Oh, is this what I've turned into? Oh, I need to get into couponing.
Well, where should we go now? Well, of course, Donald Trump said the US will not waive tariffs. Well, actually, he said they will not waiver tariffs. I don't know. A tariff waiver is somebody who stands waving a piece of paper on the dockside as the goods are unloaded, I think. But we know what he meant. Apple will not get special treatment for their Mac Pro, apparently, shipping if they're going to ship parts, from China. I don't really know what I have to say about that. I mean, I don't see any reason why Apple should get special treatment. What I think about Donald Trump's trade war tariffs is a different matter altogether. But I just see, much as I like Apple, I don't see any reason they should get special treatment. If the government put tariffs on stuff from China, then I suggest there's no reason why Apple should be treated any differently to any other company.
Yeah, I mean, and there was a story, wasn't there, about the 2013 Mac Pro, and apparently that was delayed, according to sources, was delayed to a lack of sourcing of a single screw component in the USA. And I to be honest, I sort of know what that's like in an extent, because I've done a few projects in my time, and I think one was I needed like a certain screwdriver set. Could not get it in this country. I can't remember what it was for, but it was like, seriously, this thing here that I think it was for watches at the time. I had to go and buy it from abroad, and let's face it, there isn't that much production that goes on in the UK either. Probably why I spend so much time on Wish.com.
There we go. So yeah, that was that. What else? Oh well, I'll tell you what. Let's go off at a slight tangent, because last week you mentioned a deal that you got for unlimited mobile broadband.
Yes, £18.75, and the company was called Smarty. But alas, that deal has expired. But I have got a bit of an update on it.
Yeah, because I put a link in the show notes to a site called Broadband Genie, which helps you, search out deals. And they said no unlimited mobile broadband deals were available last week. However, this week it has come to my attention via a site called 4g.co.uk that since last week, 2 UK options for unlimited mobile broadband have appeared. One is from Vodafone, and this is for 5G, and it works out about £50 a month. So not really applicable to most people, because if you haven't got 5G, it's not any good.
Well, can we just touch on the whole 5G thing for a start?
Yep.
I still don't use 4G. I really don't. I know this probably sounds like especially not just where I live, but no matter where I've gone, be it going to see Carl in London, heading to Bristol, heading to Cardiff, I just don't use 4G, because it always seems to be trying to latch onto a tower. It goes into 4G, comes off 4G. It just has such a negative impact on my phone that it's just rare I turn it on. And even when I do turn it on, it's like, I'm thinking, what do I actually need the 4G speed for? So, okay, yeah, it's fast. Okay, I've never had a problem with the speed of Netflix when I'm out and about, or Amazon Prime. I suppose if I wanted to burn through my data, I could turn it on and download a show quite quickly. But I don't understand, and call me all this whole 5G obsession, apart from all the adverts on YouTube saying we'll be connected like ever before. And it's like, no, we won't. It's not going to be for decades off. I remember when 3G started in the UK, and you were lucky if you could get it in the centre of Bristol.
3G, when they started with 3G, I've mentioned this before. 3G, even though I had the original iPhone, then I had a 3G, but I wasn't actually able to get a 3G signal anywhere near where I live until I was on an iPhone 4. 4G, I have to say, followed along a lot quicker. When 4G rolled out, we had 4G signal here within probably 6 to 9 months. So I've always assumed that the 4G piggybacked on the 3G infrastructure and simply required some kind of upgrading, whereas 3G obviously required them to roll out towers and repeaters and whatnot all over the country.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it could. There was the infrastructure in place. It also works on different, radio frequencies,
Yeah.
bands. That's the word I'm looking at.
But
it's like I'm here now, and I can walk about half a mile and go up a small hill, and I can get full 3G and maybe a bit of 4G. But I don't know. I just yes, it's nice to have things that go blazing fast. But I'm gonna say why on a mobile phone.
A lot of the time, I kind of agree. It's it's nice to have speed such that, when you load a web page, you don't have to sit there and wait for it, like it was on, Edge. But I know, I personally, like you, I mean, I use 4G. I have the 4G turned on all the time, and I don't have a problem with that. But then again, I spend most of my life in Wi-Fi signal. So,
yeah, I don't know. It just seems to be a lot of buzz, and
I think
I remember there being more acceptability of 4G when it was coming, because this will be good, 3G, but unless they start doing the thing where 3G starts being slowed down just a little bit too much. And I'm wondering if there will be a push. Here's a thought process. Will they start trying to push 4G into becoming the new 3G standard and then have 5G as the upgrade option? Is this a long-term plan to kill off 3G?
I guess eventually they're going to shut off 3G because. Actually, I did put a link in the show notes here from IT Pro called "Don't Fall for the 5G Fallacy," which is basically points out that at the moment 5G there's an awful lot of buzz and hype. Really, it's hype.
It was if they put it out there as what we'll come on to this story in a minute. It's like home broadband from a device. Then all for it, go for it. But then it's sort of like you could download a 4K movie in a matter of seconds on your new 5G handset. Hang on a sec, right? Let's look at this. Right, so I could download a 4K film onto my iPhone and watch a 4K film on my phone small screen. What? Why? No, seriously, am I just being old here and not seeing the point of whacking a 4K video onto your iPhone screen? I mean, yes, okay, it will look okay, but I sort of, I don't know.
Never mind your data cap, mate.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you think, a 4K film? Well, if you were to go for, what is it? It's got to be at least 8 gig.
Yeah.
Got to be at least. I mean, if you look at a Blu-ray rip, you rip that down. Yeah, you're looking at least. Okay, let's be generous. Let's say 4 gig. Boom. Well, there's, there's half your cap. There's half your 10 gigabyte cap gone.
That's if you have a cap as big as that. Mine, I've cut mine down to something piddling because I live in Wi-Fi. Why pay for gigs of data every month that I just don't use? So I've cut mine down to something tiny, to be honest. But yeah, we've kind of gone on to 5G. We were going to talk about these unlimited mobile broadband offering, which is from 3. I know this is in the UK, so sorry, Alistair. Sorry, mate. I know you feel that living down there in the southern hemisphere, we don't pay any attention to you. We do, but I'm sorry. I've no idea. What happens in the New Zealand telecoms industry. Anyway,
apparently I bumped into 2 Aussies yesterday. Sorry, New Zealanders. I know that's not the right thing to say, but I was quite surprised that how big Australia is. There's a tangent for you. I got one of these deals, Simon. I got the Smarty deal of unlimited. And when they say unlimited, they more or less mean 1 terabyte. I got a knockoff Huawei modem router thing. If you go and search for 3G modems, it's Huawei one. Mine was a T-Mobile one that they just re-flashed, basically. So let me give you this scenario. There is a chap that I do some IT work for. He lives on a river near an estuary. That's got he's at the end of the line. His BT is getting him about 5 meg. And that's when the line isn't having problems, or it's crackly, or the sun isn't in the wrong shade, or wrong place. I mean, so we thought, right, we're going to give this a try. £18.75 a month, 12-month contract. You can't really go wrong. You've got 30 days. You've got your consumer rights. You can cancel it after 30 days. Got the SIM, plopped it in, and we were up and running in about 5 minutes, all said and done. The speed was coming in at about 15 to 20 megs. So we've gone from 5 to 15, and this was in a non-optimal position. This was in the corner of the room, surrounded by thick walls. I do need to go and move it, but it's like, holy crap. And the ping time was I don't think there's anything to worry about at all. It's not. I don't know if you're going to be able to do online gaming with it because of the latency. But for a guy in a house in the middle of nowhere, he wanted, so far, touch wood, reliable broadband, and he's not called me to say it's not working when the weather's gone bad. Yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to be the start of a trend, because I'm paying £26 a month, and I bottled it, and I used him as my test guinea pig, and now I'm sort of wishing that I'm thinking, I could have had a device that I could take anywhere with me. I could put it in the back of my van, and boom. I know that sounds a bit sad, but it's kind of cool.
Well, no, that's true. Anyway, the one that popped up this week is from 3, and they are offering a selection of unlimited mobile broadband plans. For £22 a month on a 24-month contract, you can have a 3 mobile Wi-Fi, pocket modem thingy for £27 a month and £29 up front. They will do you the same deal on a 12-month contract. Or apparently they have the Huawei Home 5 4G home broadband router, so not one you put in your pocket. If you take a 24-month contract on that, they're doing it for £11.50 a month for the first 6 months, and then £23 thereafter, with no upfront cost.
I want to know, why have these deals all suddenly started coming out of the woodwork? Something somewhere has happened, because we've been crying out for deals like this for ages. We've been stuck with something like £20 for 10 gig or something ridiculous like that. And now all of a sudden we're getting these like massive data deals. There's something's happened in the industry that I'm not aware of, and it just makes you wonder why, especially 3, they're coming out really aggressively on this. They are, I think, one of the smallest, if not the smallest, of phone providers in the UK.
3 are weird, aren't they? Because 3 are actually a virtual network operator, aren't they? That's hence their name, because they actually license, bandwidth from, I believe, or at least originally, 3 other companies. That's where their name comes from. They originally, yes. I believe, they were leasing bandwidth from O2, T-Mobile, and probably Vodafone. So they worked effectively. One of their original sales pitches was the best coverage available, because they used all 3 of those networks.
Holy crap. Sorry to interrupt, Simon. Just go on to 3. If you just want to get a data SIM, you can get unlimited data for £10 a month. Holy crap.
There you go. So how long these deals will be available, of course, we cannot tell. So if you, if you are in that situation and you think that you could, not be too bothered about £22 a month, you could get yourself unlimited data on 3.
And I know they have a bit of a dodgy customer service rep thing. Yes, I ordered an unlock code from them for my little 3G dongle thingy, and I haven't heard anything back. And so I went onto a couple of websites, shall we say, managed to get it unlocked. Yeah, I've been with 3 now for 5 years, and I would put it up there with the coverage of EE, in my personal opinion. There are, no, that's not fair. I would say in very specific places, if there's a weak EE signal, the 3 signal will be a bit weaker. But other than that, I've never really sort of like gone, no.
They're also offering, interestingly, the Huawei AI Cube 4G home broadband router with Amazon Alexa built in. Which you can have.
Because that's what you want. You want Huawei and Amazon. There's 2 people I'm going to trust with my data.
Well, there you go. If you want such a thing, they're offering a deal here which starts at £13 a month for the first 6 months and £26 a month thereafter.
And I really must get around to opening up my Echo Dot. It's been sat there since Christmas.
Oh, dear.
I know they haven't opened it up, actually, because I'm just a bit bitter about HomeKit. I love the idea of HomeKit just because it's from Apple, but when we had the Black Friday Tickle Me Tuesday Amazon deals, there was nothing for HomeKit apart from a doorbell, something to go on the end of a hose pipe tap, and that's it. Is genuine question? Is HomeKit
No, not officially.
I see. But was it even? In fact, there wasn't even anything mentioned WWDC, was there?
Oh
The
yeah,
last I heard
there was because they added the new thing where they're going to secure your home kit for you and so on.
Yeah, but they had the chip, didn't they? That was supposed to go into all devices to make
Well,
it
they
really
dropped
secure.
that though, didn't they? Because it didn't. People wouldn't take it up, so they dropped that in favour of a software solution.
But even so, we're here now, and you go on to Amazon, you look for HomeKit, and there's very little pickings. And you would have thought now, after all the years it's been out, and it's it just bugs me that I have to go down the Amazon route or the Google route to do something stupid like turn my light solid off. And I've just realised that's a very, very first world problem.
Yes, it is. Well, there we go. What else? There's not a huge amount else to talk about. Security and privacy. A guy who has worked for both the CIA and then moved to Facebook, and he has said in an interview with Wired that Facebook knows far more about you than the CIA ever will. There you go. Out of the mouth of someone who knows.
It needs to be a soundboard thing that goes, no bleep Sherlock news. Oh, that reminds me as well, on another subject, I tried that Brave browser a bit more.
What did you think of it?
Doesn't seem as fast as Safari or Chrome. There's a little bit of noticeable lag when using it, but it seems to block a load of things. In fact, let's go to the Verge and annoy them by them not being able to track what I'm doing.
Well, my favourite privacy browser is Clicks, of course. But I've heard good things about Brave, of course, is built on Chromium, whereas Clicks is based on Firefox. So, take the pick.
Okay. Well, that puts me firmly into the trying not to use by Google.
So there we go. But obviously, Brave is only built on the Chromium engine. It's nothing to do with Google as such. It's a privacy-based. Yeah. It's a privacy-based browser. It just happens to be built on the Chromium core, which is, perfectly valid thing to do, of course. What else? Facebook, of course, got fined $5 billion, as everybody was expecting. Not mentioned very much anywhere in the reporting is not only, of course, was $5 billion no more than a slap on the wrist and pocket change, but the FCC have effectively, in that settlement, given them an amnesty for anything they may or may not have done up to this point, whether we know about it or not. Yes, they've basically given them a clean slate. Give us $5 billion and we won't bother about anything else you've done.
Jeez, and this is the dude who didn't turn up to congressional hearings and is basically like, well, it doesn't really matter. See, this is the thing. It just makes a mockery of the systems in place. But yet again, it should all be end. No sugar.
There we are. So that was it. And to be honest, I think that we're probably pretty much through the stories. I've got just a snippet, a fly past here. Do you remember the flyboard from Bastille Day?
Yeah. Oh, the
it's like a flying tea tray with a bloke standing on it. The inventor, Frankie Zapata, apparently, failed in a bid to cross the channel on it. He wanted to fly across the channel on his, jet-powered hoverboard thing, to mark the 110th anniversary of Louis Blériot flying across the channel. He failed. He got halfway, where he was supposed to land on a platform, on a boat in order to pick up more fuel, and he missed and fell in the sea. So that was the end of that.
He was surprised by a surface on the sea would be slightly more wibbly wobbly.
Well, apparently they'd tried it. They'd rehearsed it lots of times, and it was said that they'd achieved a landing on this platform for refueling several times in worse weather conditions and whatnot. But whatever, somehow or other, he missed the landing and plopped into the sea. He was unhurt, but I think his pride was a bit dented. So there we go. Pity, really, in a way. It's funny to laugh at him doing it, but, it's quite an achievement, such a thing, isn't it? And
I'm just waiting for Elon Musk to have a bash at it. He'll come up with something. He's bound to have thought, you know what? Oh, no, it's too small for him. It's like, why would you want to go across the sea when I could go around the world? No, scrap that. Go to Mars.
There we go. Mac Jim sent in a couple of worth of chirps. Canex have launched 3 MacBook-friendly USB-C hubs priced from just $60 US, apparently. And one I found slightly more interesting, to be honest, a Kodak mobile film scanner is a cheap cardboard-based way to scan 35mm film and slides. And as you might guess, this is basically a cardboard box which you put your smartphone on the top of, and allows you to, take photographs of, no doubt, backlit 35mm slides or film negatives. I'm sure it's not going to be super high quality, but, if you just want to digitize a number of 35mm slides or something, probably quite acceptable. I'm sure it's not pro quality by any chance, but...
Yeah, but everyone puts a filter on everything anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it? It's like that grainy look that everyone puts on their Instagram. Oh no, sorry, gram photos. I've been informed that Instagram is referred to as the gram. Right, yeah. I'm old. I was actually looking for my slippers the other day, and I got a bit grumpy because I couldn't find them. That's where I'm at in my life.
Oh, you should not see how grumpy I get when I can't find my slippers, mate. You really do not want to know.
It's satisfying, though, isn't it? It's like taking off your sock. Oh, why am I talking about your slippers on a podcast? It's a good job. I need to get out more. I did cycle yesterday. Actually, it's the first time since June. Got no follow up for that. I'm just sort of realising that. Oh, it's been a long week.
Right. Well, I tell you what. I think that's probably enough for this show, don't you?
Yeah, let's get up here. And again, so we have to do these things again. If you'd like to continue, if you'd like to support the show over the summer holiday period, we will be back. We do it at the end of August. I think so, aren't we?
Yeah,
yes,
probably the end of August.
Don't forget, I think we'll be doing some posting on the website. I'm gonna try and get some reviews up. I know I keep talking about again life and people in my way. If you would like to continue supporting us, you can do via using our Amazon link. So if you want to shop, buy anything from Amazon, click on that link, make your purchases normal, and we get a very, very, very more. And again, a huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Help us chip away at the mountain and bills of health, and we love you all dearly. And there will be some content coming up soon. In fact, you'll get the world's first exclusive look of how not to review something and everything I learned by picking it up.
There we go. Yes, we will endeavour to put things on the website, which is, of course, essentialapple.com. There you are, John. We're promoting it. John. You can follow me on Twitter. I am at Serenak, and that's SERENAK. The show is at Essential Apple, although I must admit I'm a bit lax in using that, and I tend to post stuff on my own personal Twitter feed. That's probably about it, isn't it, really, Mark?
That is it. It's a nice short show.
We should, of course, mention, the Slack room where all sorts of shenanigans go on. If you want to join the Slack room, follow the link in the show notes. Don't forget about Mac Jim's Flickr group. Again, there is a link in the show notes. Just follow the link, ask for an invitation, and, don't be too impatient because Mac Jim has other things to do than watch for people asking for invitations.
He's got his life thingies.
Yes, he has a life, and a job painting trains and things.
I've not had a random Friday night chat with him when I've been in the pub. I think this needs to happen. That used to while away a few hours when I was.
So there we are. We are going to take a break through the silly season, and we look forward to you joining us again when we come back in about a month. So there you go. Goodbye, everybody, and enjoy the summer.
Cheerio.
And now we hand you over to John Nemo for a hardware store.
The words for today in Nemo's hardware store are catalyst, C-A-T-A-L-Y-S-T, and Foozy, P-H-O-O-Z-Y, catalyst and Foozy. Catalyst, as you know, is my favorite case company for iPhone and iPad, and now they have a 6-foot 6-inch, 2-meter waterproof, fully waterproof case with 360 total protection, drop proof to 1.2 meters for the new 11-inch iPad Pro and the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Cost in the U.S. is $150 to $170. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of case because you spent a fortune on your precious new Pro iPads, and that is not a lot of money to know they are waterproof and drop-proof and everything-proof. These are the cases that I use and that I recommend personally from Catalyst. Simon will have the links. They're a little bit different for each country, so he will find the appropriate link for us here at Essential Apple Podcast based in the UK. Excellent company. Been working with their cases ever since they first came out. I've had them on all of my phones, all of my pads. They are the best. How else can I put it? Spend the money, get one. You will be overjoyed to have a Catalyst case, waterproof and drop-proof, everything-proof, beautiful touchscreen membrane on the front for your amazing 11-inch and 13-inch brand new iPad Pro. However, when you need to carry your iPad and or your Mac laptop, like an Air or 13-inch, 11 or 13-inch Mac of any type, portable Mac laptop, and you're taking it out in the element and you want it to be okay from heat. You don't want it to get overheated. You want to protect it from the elements, from dropping, from water and heat. You want the Fuzzy, PHOOZY. Comes in two sizes for the standard iPad, up 10-inch, 11-inch, and then for the jumbo iPad, 12, 13-inch, and the Air and the 13-inch Pro will also fit in there. Has D-rings on the side. It comes with a strap. Comes in all kinds of conventional and unconventional colors. The one they sent me is called Real Tree Timber, and that's exactly what it looks like. It has heat-absorbing panels on the back, very attractive front looking like a tree. No other exterior sleeves or pockets. Let's unzip it and see what's on the inside. Nothing. Just a big space with a very tough, rugged zipper. That strap is inside there. I can hook it up anytime I want, and it is very, very well padded. So check out the iPad MacBook capsule. Fits tablets and laptops up 13-inch. Includes dual position shoulder strap. For my money, and these run $60 to $70. Spend $70. Get the tree. Nobody else will have anything like it, and that way you can carry anything in it, including your smaller iPad, but you'll be able to expand and carry your portable laptop and jumbo iPad when you get one. So have a look at the website for both Catalyst and for Fuzzy. See the pictures, read the descriptions, read the reviews. You will see these are top products at top prices for top quality, for top protection, for your top-rated, amazing Apple pads and laptop computers. Back next week. Wait a minute. We may not have a show next week. Well, whenever we come back, Hardware Store from Nemo, we'll be back. Have a great summer, everybody.
You've been listening to the Essential Apple Podcast, and I'd like to say if you enjoy the show and would like to support us, feel free to go over to the website essentialapple.com and you will find links to both Patreon and the Pinecast Tips Jar, where you can make a donation towards the costs of the show, or even if you're really keen, you could set up a recurring payment. And thank you very, very much to all the people who already do support us. We really do appreciate you very much indeed. This show is, of course, part of the My Mac Podcasting Network, where you can find a variety of other shows like the My Mac Podcast with Guy and Gaz, the G-Men, Tech Fan with Tim and David, the Nintendo Club Podcast, the Geekiest Show Ever, the Three Geeky Ladies, Bart Bouchots and his wonderful Let's Talk Apple, and possibly some more that I've forgotten. So why not go over to mymac.com, take a look at the available podcasts, and take a listen.
My gal pals, Elisa, Susie, and Vicky, the Three Geeky Ladies, told me to remind you that they will release a new podcast each month. So, check them out at 3geekyladies.com or subscribe in iTunes. The Three Geeky Ladies, part of the My Mac Podcasting Network.
Been listening to the Essential Apple Podcast. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you next time.